and everybody sort of hangs out there in leather. I think that you're supposed to regard the position. The truthfulness and the candor and the directness of his speeches was appealing for a period of time.
She made more money than most CEOs, commanded more respect than Supreme Court justices, and ruled daytime television for a quarter of a century. Judge Judy wasn't just a TV show. It was a cultural phenomenon that turned Judith Sheindlin into one of the most powerful women in entertainment. But here's what nobody talks about. At 82, the woman who could silence anyone with a single glare now sits in mansions so quiet you can hear the emptiness echo through the halls. The same iron will that built her empire may have destroyed the relationships that mattered most. And the decisions she made in pursuit of fame left scars that millions of dollars can't heal. What really happened to the judge who once had America hanging on her every word? And why does the life she's living now look nothing like the success story we all believed? The truth is more heartbreaking than you'd ever imagine. Judith Susan Bloom wasn't born into power. She grew up in Brooklyn in 1942, the daughter of a dentist father she adored and a practical no-nonsense mother who taught her that words were cheap and actions told the real story. That lesson would shape everything that came after. But before the fame, before the millions, before America even knew her name, Judy was just another young lawyer trying to find her place in a world that didn't want women in courtrooms. After passing the New York bar in 1965, she landed what looked like a solid job as a corporate lawyer for a cosmetics company. She was 23, ambitious, and ready to prove herself. But within 2 years, she realized something that would haunt her for decades. She hated every minute of it. The work felt meaningless. The days dragged on, and deep down, she knew this wasn't what she was meant to do. So she made a choice that shocked everyone around her. She quit, just walked away from a stable career to stay home with her 2 young children, Jamie and Adam. For 5 years, she tried to convince herself that being a full-time mother was enough, but it wasn't. The restlessness gnawed at her. By 1972, when a friend mentioned an opening for a prosecutor in New York's family court system, Judy didn't hesitate. She jumped back in. And this time, everything clicked. Family court was raw, emotional, and brutal. Cases involving abuse, neglect, custody battles, the kind of work that broke most people. But Judy thrived. She wasn't there to make friends or sugarcoat reality. She was there to cut through the lies and deliver justice fast and final. Her reputation grew quickly. By 1982, New York Mayor Ed Keough noticed her work and appointed her as a criminal court judge. 4 years later, she was promoted again to supervising judge of Manhattan's family court. She had a style nobody could ignore. Sharp, direct, and completely unfiltered. Some called her harsh, others called her brilliant. But everyone agreed on one thing. You did not lie to Judge Judy Sheindlin. Then came 1993, and everything changed. A journalist from the Los Angeles Times wrote an article about this firecracker judge in New York who was shaking up the system. The story caught fire. Producers at 60 Minutes saw it and invited her on the show. When America watched that segment, they couldn't look away. Here was a woman who didn't play games, didn't waste time, and didn't care if you liked her or not. She was real in a way television had never seen before. In 1996, television producers approached her with an idea, a courtroom reality show featuring real cases and real rulings. On September 16th of that year, Judge Judy premiered. Within weeks, it was pulling in millions of viewers. Within months, it was a cultural phenomenon. At its peak, the show drew 9 to 10 million people every single day, sometimes even beating Oprah in the ratings. Judy became more than a judge. She became an icon. Her catchphrases, her glare, her entire presence became embedded in American culture. And the money, it was staggering. By 2005, she was making $25 million a year. By 2008, that jumped to $45 million. And by 2017, she was earning $147 million annually, making her the highest paid person on television. Not just in daytime, on all of television. She filmed only 52 days a year, which meant she was making close to $900,000 per day of work. But here's what nobody saw coming. While Judy was building an empire on screen, the foundation of her personal life was quietly crumbling beneath her feet, and the cracks were about to become impossible to ignore. Success in public doesn't guarantee happiness in private. And for Judy Chandlin, the higher she climbed, the more she lost along the way. Her first marriage should have been a clue about what was coming. In 1964, fresh out of school, she married Ronald Levi, a fellow attorney who seemed like the perfect match. They had 2 children together, built what looked like a stable life. But beneath the surface, something was deeply wrong. Ronald never took her career seriously. To him, her work was a hobby, something she did to keep herself busy. That might have been acceptable in another era, but not to Judy. She had fought too hard to be dismissed like that. The resentment built slowly year after year until the marriage finally collapsed in 1976. After 12 years together, she was suddenly a single mother, raising Jamie and Adam on her own while trying to build a legal career in a system designed to keep women out. The next year, she met Jerry Shindlin, a defense attorney with a sharp mind and a personality that could match hers blow for blow. The chemistry was instant. They married in 1977 and seemed perfect for each other. Both were tough. Both understood the law. Both thrived under pressure. But even the strongest connections can break under the right kind of stress. In 1990, Judy's father died. Murray Bloom was the man she called the greatest thing since sliced bread. Her hero, her anchor. When he passed, Judy crumbled. She needed Jerry to step up, to be there for her in a way he'd never had to before. But Jerry didn't know how to give her what she needed. He was a man who lived on logic and structure, and grief doesn't follow either of those rules. Frustrated and overwhelmed, Judy gave him an ultimatum. When Jerry responded with a challenge instead of compassion, she filed for divorce the very next day. The split shocked everyone. But here's the thing about Judy. She doesn't do anything without conviction. If she files for divorce, she means it. Except this time, she was wrong. Within a year, they both realized the divorce was a mistake. They missed each other. They needed each other. In 1991, they remarried. And this time it stuck. They've been together ever since, building a blended family of 5 children, 3 from Jerry's previous marriage, Gregory, Jonathan, and Nicole, and Judy's 2. But being married didn't solve everything. In fact, as Judge Judy exploded in popularity, Judy faced a problem that fame couldn't fix. She was never home. The endless filming schedule, the constant pressure to maintain her image, the relentless pace of production meant she missed nearly everything that mattered: school plays, family dinners, birthdays, the small moments that build a childhood. Years later, she would admit that her greatest regret was not being there enough for her children. She carried that guilt everywhere, a weight that no amount of success could lift. One of her close friends revealed that Judy constantly blamed herself, always wondering if she'd done enough, always knowing the answer was no. Then in 2011, something happened that forced her to confront her own mortality. During a live taping, Judy suddenly started slurring her words. Her face went blank. The sharp, quick woman America knew vanished in an instant. Production stopped. Paramedics rushed in. She was taken to the hospital where doctors delivered the diagnosis. She'd suffered a mini-stroke, a transient ischemic attack that could have been much worse. She recovered quickly, but the scare changed something. She started working out daily, changed her diet, and began taking medication to prevent another stroke. But she didn't slow down. If anything, she pushed harder, as if trying to outrun the reality that time was catching up. Today, her 5 children are grown with lives of their own. Family gatherings are rare. The distance between them isn't just physical, it's emotional, built from years of absence that can't be undone. Even bringing her granddaughter Sarah Rose onto Judy Justice as a law clerk felt like an attempt to reclaim something she'd lost. A way to pass on a legacy to someone who might actually remember her presence. But the damage was done. And as Judy's fame grew, so did the list of people who felt left behind, including the one person who had stood by her side for over 2 decades, and the controversies that would make people question everything they thought they knew about her. For years, Judge Judy was untouchable. Millions trusted her. Networks paid her a fortune. She seemed immune to the kind of scandals that destroyed other careers. But every empire has cracks, and Judy's were about to become impossible to ignore. The first real blow came from inside her own production. Former staff members started speaking out, and what they described was disturbing. They painted a picture of a workplace filled with harassment, discrimination, and fear. Much of the criticism centered on Randy Duff, the show's longtime executive producer. Accusations against him included inappropriate behavior, verbal abuse, and creating an environment where speaking up meant losing your job. One producer, Courtney Bullock, filed a lawsuit claiming she'd been harassed and then pushed out after complaining. Other former employees backed up her story, adding that there was a troubling pattern behind the scenes. Some even alleged that racial bias influenced which cases made it to air, with instructions to avoid booking too many black litigants in a single episode. These weren't just whispers. Court documents and media reports laid it all out. And the question everyone asked was, how much did Judy know? She claimed she had no knowledge of any misconduct, defended her team publicly, and continued to support Duff.